What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and here today to talk about Warhammer 40k, like always. But today I'm talking about something pretty big. So about a week ago, we had some rumors going around that 10th edition was somewhat around the corner, and that in 10th edition we were going to have some shocking news revealed about the Sanguinor / Sanguinius. So of course, people got to talking, got to theory crafting, and potentially Sanguinius might be the next loyalist Primarch to enter the fray. Now, of course, we have Guilliman, and we have 3 demon Primarchs, Mortarion, Magnus, and Angron, so it does seem that the scales of fate are twisted and turning once again, and are gonna become somewhat even now that Sanguinius may be entering, again into the lore and history of 40k. Speaking of lore, Sanguinius is dead. He died sacrificing himself against his brother Primarch, the fallen Horus. They were best friends, they fought many times together, and of course Horus was corrupted by chaos, and Horus is the one who slew the angel, Sanguinius. Or so we thought. A lot of people are kind of pissed that Sanguinius isn't confirmed dead. He may be in stasis, he may be in near-death state, but what does that mean for the Black Rage? Like, a Primarch dying would cause a Black Rage, but a Primarch nearly dying does not? I mean, Guilliman suffered the same fate when his throat was slashed by a poison blade by Fulgrim. Why didn't that send a psychic backlash to his Ultramarines? However, that's not really what this video is about. This video is about the top 3 ways that Sanguinius can return in 40k. We do have 2 more books in the Siege of Terra / Horus Heresy series to come out, and the last book is of course the ultimate battle between the Emperor and Horus, and that will cement in the lore what exactly transpired on the battleship, what exactly happened between Horus and Sanguinius. Is Sanguinius indeed dead, or is he in a near-death state? So once that novel comes out in about 2 months, I believe, unless it gets pushed back, we'll find out the truth as to which Sanguinius is dead or he's not. And these next 3 ideas, speculation, theories that I'm going to throw out would kind of talk about both, if he is and if he isn't. So let's talk about one that if he is 100% dead, this is how Sanguinius can come back. So in the novel Godblight, which pits Guilliman against Mortarion, the two have a climactic battle. Now, of course, spoilers, so if you don't want to get spoiled, go ahead and check out the novel Godblight, but for now, let's continue on. So in this novel, they are fighting, and Mortarion injects the Godblight, the most putrid, pestilence, disease-ridden virus that both Nurgle and Mortarion have ever created, is injected into the body of Guilliman. Now this would be instant death for pretty much anybody, but of course Guilliman is a Primarch, and so he tries to fight off the disease, but alas, it is too much for him, and he succumbs, and he's dead, honestly. So this next excerpt comes from chapter 38, For the Emperor, so let's read. He sensed the cauldron's passing as a tolling of a bell's ring felt, but not heard. The garden shook with an earthquake. The strange demon creatures that dwelled there set up a cacophony of cries and moans. On the areas of lax that it overlaid, reality trembled and reasserted itself, and the garden began to fade. Impossible, Mortarion whispered. The corpse of his brother twitched. The armor of fate was a corroded shell, but somehow its power pack restarted, and the lights blinked, systems all over it. The blackened face of Guilliman turned up to look at him, and Mortarion felt something huge and dangerous moving through the warp, something he had not felt for a long, long time. Guilliman's back arced. The armor was humming now, giving off a psychic signature as arcane mechanisms within it powered on throughout. The earth shook again. A second toll to the unseen bell sent the Desidins of the garden into panic. Trees cracked as they dragged up roots and attempted to lumber away. 1,000,000 kinds of demons buzzed up from the corpse grounds and flew off in gathering swarms. Nurglings shrieked and waddled as fast as their little legs would carry them. Mortarion stood hurriedly, raised silence, and made to bring it down, to destroy Guilliman, finally to take his soul as a sacrifice to the great god Nurgle, even if he could not take his worlds. But he could not move. Guilliman's eyes were glowing with pure white power. The last slimes of his decayed flesh burned away, and a network of feathery capillaries spread in their place, bearing new blood, unsullied by the god blight. The metal of the armor of fate shimmered, impossibly remaking itself. Bright decorations appeared as tarnish cracked and fell away. Wires grew and reconnected as surely as Guilliman's skin was growing back. The ground crackled and broke. Glaring whiteness blazed from the crevices. Guilliman's corpse rose up and hung in the air, supported by a pillar of radiance. And slowly, he was upright. He reached out, and the Emperor's sword appeared in his hand, burning with the fires of 1,000 suns. "He speaks to me, brother," said Roboute. "Does he not speak to you?" The unbearable radiance enfolded Guilliman, so glaring Mortarion threw up his hands. "Father," Mortarion said. His voice quailed like a little boy discovering in the course of some small but unforgivable crime. "I am his right hand, brother," said Guilliman, "and I am his general, his champion. I am the avenging son, and by his might I am preserved." "This is impossible. You should be dead." There's obviously a lot more to this, but basically, Guilliman was dead. The Godblight tore him apart, internally and externally, but the Emperor, with all his psychic might, resurrected Guilliman in complete and utter radiance. So, if he can do this with Guilliman, who's to say he can't do this with any of the other fallen Primarchs? It seems that obviously you do need somewhat of a corpse or body left to reanimate, but of course, we don't know exactly what happened with the body of the angel Sanguinius, so perhaps the Emperor would, know that it is time to summon his son and resurrect Sanguinius for whatever the storyline for 10th edition has occurring. So that's probably the most plausible. I mean, it happened once, it can happen again. Will this happen to any of the other fallen Primarchs? Maybe, we don't know exactly, but this is something that has happened in recent times, and who's to say it can't happen again? Theory number 2 involves the Sanguinor actually being the avatar for Sanguinius. The Sanguinor is very mysterious in that he appears out of nowhere to aid the Blood Angels and then disappears. And we've seen this time and time again. The Blood Angels are fighting a losing battle, and the Sanguinor comes out of nowhere to turn the tides. And not just that, but it seems that his attacks can do massive damage, while attacks against him either seem to do no damage or go right through him. So perhaps the Sanguinor is more of a spirit, a warp ghost, something akin to the Legion of the Damned, and that is how and why the Blood Angels have made it past all these deadly battles. Maybe this is a piece, a fragment of Sanguinius made manifest for just a sliver of time before it gets reeled back into the warp. This could be a thing now. Obviously, we've seen ghost-like Astartes a few times, more notably with the Legion of the Damned, like I'm saying. So potentially, we can get confirmation that this is indeed what is happening with the Sanguinor. Maybe Dante knows this, because apparently during the events of Dante meeting with the Necrons and whatnot, and the Sanguinor appeared, that might have something to do with it. Or the other theory is that perhaps the Sanguinor is a saint. He has been grafted sainthood by the Emperor, and that is why the Sanguinor cannot die, because it's essentially a resurrection of a blood angel, but he has visions and powers akin to something like Saint Celestine, but in a space marine form. Now that wouldn't involve Sanguinius in any way, but seeing sainthood into the Blood Angels, or any type of like religious connotations in that matter, that involves like the Emperor giving him particular powers that could bring him to near Primarch level of power, and that's why the Sanguinor is capable of doing all these crazy feats that we've seen him do. Now, I don't know about you guys, but those are my top 3 ways. If you guys have any other ideas of how, when, why Sanguinius can make his return, please let me know down below. This is all off of speculation, like I said. We don't know exactly what 10th edition brings. These rumors that have been circulating come from a burner Reddit account, so even that is just like, take that with a grain of salt. Don't believe everything you hear on the internet, because oftentimes people just lie or make up things just to get clout and whatnot. But hey, let me know your thoughts. Do you want Sanguinius to come back? I, for one, am on the fence. He's my favorite Loyalist Primarch, and I would want to see a sculpt and what amazing abilities and storylines he could have in the future of 40k, but at the same time, his sacrifice meant something, and I think bringing him back kind of makes his death, his life, not like a loss, but it kind of diminishes what his death stood for. But anyway, that's just me. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. We are very active on our Facebook page, our Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, so check us out on there. Think of it as a supplement to the codex that is our YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. This is the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you then. Peace.